Kakadosh Boker Tov, we're just continuing with the Lichvod of Kavod and Oneg Shabbat, which is to do with the Shabbat. If you remember yesterday, we mentioned that according to a lot of Rishonim and Acharonim, the mitzvah of Oneg Shabbat is Mina Torah, is Doraita, it's from the Torah. Now here, there's going to be a difference in the Rambam. The Rambam comes and he says in Perek Lamed Hilchot Shabbat that there's 4 things which are said to do with the Shabbat, 2 Mina Torah and 2 Divrei Sofrim, and it's talking about the Kavod ve'Oneg Shabbat. What is Kavod Shabbat? He says anything which is a mitzvah that you're going to do, for example, to bathe, to come and to do all the preparations for the Shabbat. And what is the Oneg Shabbat? What you're eating on the Shabbat, whether it's so it comes out according to the Rambam, anything that you do for preparations of Shabbat, even the cooking, you're cutting your nails, anything that you're doing, what are you doing? Lichvod Shabbat Kodesh. It's Kavod of Shabbat. However, though, on the Shabbat in itself, when you're going to come and you're going to enjoy, whether it's in the food and drink, that's called Oneg Shabbat. However, though, he comes and he says here of David Yosef that even though the Rambam holds this, that there's a difference between Oneg Shabbat and Kavod Shabbat, he does bring down that a lot of the Rishonim, sometimes they call Oneg Shabbat Kavod Shabbat, and sometimes they call Kavod Shabbat Oneg Shabbat. And therefore he says that it comes out that according to them, it's mashma that Oneg Shabbat is part of Kavod Shabbat, and it's one mitzvah. However, though, whichever one that you want to call it, whether you want to call it that it's Kavod Shabbat, Oneg Shabbat, but they're both very, very important. So anything which you prepare is called Lichvod Shabbat Kodesh, and anything which you're benefiting on the Shabbat is going to be for the Oneg of Shabbat. Now he says it's fitting not to have less than 2 different types of meals, 2 different types of foods on the Seudot Shabbat, which means that we know that the Seudot Shabbat, it has to show that you're doing something extra. So what do? You're not just coming and having something like a regular meal that you have during the week. You're having something extra. So how do you do something extra? The extra that you're going to be doing is going to be that you're coming and you're going to be making extra food. Now if it's going to be Rosh Chodesh that comes out on Shabbat, so then you're going to do even more than that. So then you come and you add on extra thing and more than that. Some people say that Seudat Shlishit, you do not need the extra. So that's going to be very, very important. And then what is exactly the Tashil? So some people say that the Tavshilin, we're talking about whether it's a Ruf Tavshilin, which means that you're making a food, or like Seudat HaMaseket, which means that you're coming and you're making a food which has to be set aside, which is specifically for the Shabbat. Now the question is there a mitzvah to be sameach on Shabbat? Is there a mitzvah to be happy on Shabbat? So he says, some people say it's a mitzvah lismoch b'Shabbat, just like it's a mitzvah lismoch b'moadim. That means just like you have a special mitzvah to be happy during the Chag, so too you have a mitzvah to be happy during Shabbat. And some people say that the simcha is only in the moadim, because to do with the Shabbat, it just says, Shabbat Oneg, which means that it has to be an Oneg. It doesn't have to be a simcha. Nevertheless, it's somebody that's going to come and be ma'aneget to Shabbat, which means you're going to appreciate. So then obviously you're going to have, it's going to come mimela v'lidei simcha. And some people say that bichlal mitzvot oneg Shabbat is that you have to eat meat and drink wine. And some people say that you don't have to, and you're going to be mitzvah chovah the oneg Shabbat with other foods as well. Nevertheless, if a person can, it is proper that a person should have meat and wine in order that he should be ma'aneget to Shabbat properly.